Hello everyone, friends, the affair that shattered us, have a nice day and enjoy for watching. For years, Mark and I were the couple everyone envied. He wasn't just my husband, he was my partner in every sense of the word. We met 7 years ago at a mutual friend's party, and from the moment he introduced himself with that mischievous grin, I was hooked. He had this magnetic energy, the kind that makes you feel like you're the only person in the room. We built a beautiful life together. Weekends were spent exploring new restaurants or binge-watching our favorite shows on the couch. Mark was spontaneous, and while his impulsive nature sometimes drove me crazy, it also kept our relationship exciting. Once, he surprised me with a midnight picnic under the stars just because he thought I'd had a rough week. Another time, he insisted we drive 4 hours to the mountains on a whim just to watch the sunrise. We also shared a love for hosting. Our house was always filled with friends, laughter, and wine. Mark thrived in those moments, charming everyone with his quick wit and humor. I loved watching him work a room. It reminded me why I fell for him in the first place. But our favorite moments were the quiet ones. Sunday mornings were sacred. We'd sleep in, make pancakes together, and talk for hours about everything from our travel bucket list to ridiculous hypotheticals like, what would you do if you woke up as a dog tomorrow? Those moments made me feel so secure, like we were building something unshakable. I trusted him completely. He was my best friend, the one person I could rely on for anything. And for a long time, I thought he felt the same way about me. Enter Erica. About 6 months ago, I joined a local yoga class to meet new people. That's where I met Erica. She was recently divorced, and we hit it off instantly. Erica was everything I wasn't: bold, flirtatious, and unapologetically confident. I admired her for it. She seemed like the kind of person who could light up any room without even trying. Naturally, I introduced her to Mark. I thought she'd fit right into our little social circle. And she did. Maybe a little too well. At first, it was great. Erica became a regular at our dinner parties and weekend outings. Mark seemed to enjoy her company as much as I did, which made me happy. I thought it was nice that my husband and my new friend got along so well. Looking back, I can see the signs I missed. The way Mark's face would light up when Erica walked into the room. How their laughter seemed a little too intimate, their conversations a little too exclusive. I brushed it off as paranoia. Mark and I were solid. Erica was my friend. What could possibly go wrong? After Erica became a regular in our lives, things started to shift in ways I didn't immediately recognize. Mark and I still had our moments: Sunday pancakes, movie marathons, spontaneous getaways, but something felt off. It was subtle at first, like a song slightly out of tune. I blamed it on work stress, a busy social calendar, anything except what it actually was. Erica and Mark seemed to have an easy camaraderie, which I convinced myself was harmless. Erica was bold and flirty with everyone, it was just her personality. And Mark? He was a charmer. That's who he'd always been. They laughed at jokes I didn't quite get, shared long conversations at parties while I played hostess, and seemed to naturally gravitate toward each other. One night, we were hosting a casual game night at our place. A few of our friends came over, including Erica. Everything was going fine until I noticed how Mark seemed to hang on her every word. She'd tease him, and he'd fire back with that same mischievous grin he'd always given me. It was nothing outwardly inappropriate, but it planted the first real seed of doubt in my mind. I shook it off. Later that evening, I caught Mark refilling Erica's wine glass without her even asking. It wasn't a big deal, it shouldn't have been a big deal, but something about the way he did it made my stomach twist. When I jokingly said, "Careful, Mark, you'll spoil her," he just laughed it off and said, "Erica's worth spoiling." I laughed too, but it didn't sit right with me. The excuses begin. Over the next few weeks, Mark started spending more time away from home. He claimed work was busier than usual, which I didn't question because his job had always been demanding. But then there were other excuses: running errands, grabbing drinks with coworkers, meeting up with Erica to help her with stuff around her place. At first, I was fine with it. Erica was my friend, after all. She was going through a rough patch post-divorce, and if Mark wanted to lend her a hand, who was I to say no? I told myself it was just him being his usual kind and generous self. But the frequency of these meetups started to bother me. One evening, after another one of Mark's impromptu errands, I decided to bring it up. "You've been spending a lot of time with Erica lately," I said as casually as I could. Mark didn't even flinch. "She's struggling," he said. "You've seen how lonely she's been since the divorce. I'm just trying to help her out. You'd do the same, wouldn't you?" It sounded so reasonable, so kind, that I felt guilty for even bringing it up. Of course I'd want to help a friend in need. Why was I letting my insecurities get the better of me? But a part of me couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. A warning I didn't listen to. The tipping point came when one of our mutual friends, Sarah, pulled me aside during a brunch. Sarah had always been the blunt, no-nonsense type, and she clearly had something on her mind. "I don't want to start drama," she began, "but have you noticed how close Mark and Erica have gotten?" Her words hit me like a slap. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to sound unfazed. Sarah hesitated, then sighed. "I don't know, maybe it's nothing. But I've seen the way they look at each other. It's intense. Just keep an eye on it, okay?" I laughed it off, telling her she was imagining things, but her words stayed with me. That night, I watched Mark more closely than I ever had before. He seemed so normal, so devoted, that I almost felt ashamed for doubting him. Almost. Mark and I had planned a small party to celebrate his recent work success. It was supposed to be an intimate gathering of close friends, laughter, and good vibes. Erica, of course, was invited. By now, she was such a regular presence that it would have been more suspicious not to include her. The night started like any other. Mark was the life of the party, charming everyone with his stories and jokes. I spent most of the evening making sure everyone's drinks were topped up and the appetizers were replenished. Erica showed up a little late, looking stunning as always. She hugged me and congratulated Mark on his success, her bright laugh carrying through the room. I tried to ignore the way Mark's eyes lingered on her as she walked in. As the evening went on, I noticed little things, how Mark and Erica always seemed to end up in the same conversations, how they stood just a little too close, and how their laughter felt intimate. I felt like a third wheel at my own party. But I didn't want to make a scene. I told myself I was overthinking it, that there was nothing to worry about. They were friends, and I was being paranoid. So I busied myself with playing hostess, chatting with friends, and trying to enjoy the night. The moment of truth. Sometime after midnight, I noticed Mark had disappeared. It wasn't unusual for him to step away to grab something or take a moment to himself, but he'd been gone for a while. I started looking for him, checking the kitchen, the backyard, and even the garage. No sign of him. Then I realized Erica was also nowhere to be found. A sick feeling crept into my stomach as I made my way toward the bathroom down the hall. The door was slightly ajar, and as I got closer, I heard muffled voices, Mark's voice and Erica's, low and urgent. I don't know what possessed me to push the door open, but I did. What I saw will haunt me forever. Mark and Erica, tangled together, half-dressed, in the middle of having sex. For a moment, time froze. They didn't notice me at first, too wrapped up in their betrayal to realize the door had opened. When they finally looked up and saw me standing there, the color drained from Mark's face. Erica scrambled to cover herself, muttering something I couldn't hear over the sound of my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. I don't remember what I said. I think I screamed, maybe cursed. All I know is that I ran out of the bathroom, out of the house, and kept running until my legs gave out. Aftermath. Mark found me sitting on the curb outside, tears streaming down my face. "It's not what it looks like," he said, his voice desperate and pleading. "Don't insult me," I snapped, my voice shaking. "I saw everything." He tried to explain, to justify, but I wasn't hearing any of it. I felt like my whole world had just crumbled, and I didn't know how to piece it back together. The rest of the night was a blur. Friends started leaving, clearly sensing something was wrong. Erica slipped out without a word. Mark followed me around the house, begging me to talk to him, but I locked myself in the bedroom and cried until I couldn't end him. Thank you very much for watching. Please support me by subscribing, liking and of course commenting. See you next videos.